what's going
I
on?
thought you were going to say, like, I mean, more tragically, she could have gone on maternity leave and then you're down a hairdresser.
So, well, I'm down a hairdresser because now it's like super orkies, eh?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, what do? I got to go in there and sit there and get my haircut by the hairdresser and talk about a failed date.
No,
I mean, the actual date wasn't a
I don't
fail.
want Annie talking in a haircut.
Yeah.
No,
Oh, man. You feel obligated to make conversation. That's how I got myself in that whole predicament, you know. But, I mean, I also feel bad. It's almost like getting into an Uber and not talking to the driver, and especially if he sort of makes a couple of comments.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, yeah, you know.
Do you have ones that try to get you roped into something controversial? Have you had that? Like, they'll just immediately, out of nowhere, no context, hey, what do you think about something racist? You know?
Yeah, well, it's sometimes I like to do that a little bit because it's interesting, you know. Like everybody puts the masks on for society and stuff like that. Yeah, I'm a good member of society. I think what you think and stuff like that. We're all one and the same, you know.
No.
And you dig a little bit deeper and you're like, oh, right, how's that American election coming, eh? You find out they're like hardcore Trump supporters or the opposite a lot while Trump was in power. It seems like you hear a lot more Trump supporters now. But
I feel like you wouldn't do that while we're on a job site, though, as much as you would if you're catching an Uber from somewhere.
Danny's pretty open about the fact that he's a Trump supporter, so there's not much to dig down on there and stuff. But
that, though,
yeah, you get people
Thank God he doesn't get a vote.
Hey?
Yeah. He doesn't get a vote, though.
He doesn't get a bloody vote. No. I
We
don't
should.
even think he gets a vote here as New Zealander.
We don't give them anything. It's so unfair. If we go over to New Zealand,
Yeah.
we can immediately get government assistance.
What?
Yep. That's just a thing that's in there.
Really?
Yeah. From day one. Like, oh, you don't have a job? Here you go. We'll support you for a little bit while you get settled. Have a cup of tea.
Wow.
Yeah.
Does that mean like
And the language.
anybody from the UK can go over there and do the same thing? Is it just part of the Commonwealth?
Well, I don't care about people from the UK, so I don't know.
I don't know. Excellent. And where did this disdain for the British develop, Ali?
Oh, because I've got Scottish heritage. So
Right. William Wallace blood and stuff.
preternatural hate.
Yes.
Came
Yeah.
out.
And how do you... I heard that the English flag, or the Union Jack, is actually the Wales flag?
Yes.
And the Scottish flag overlapped, and then the strip of red on top is meant to represent all the blood that was spilled trying to unite the two flags.
This is what I was taught in grade 5 as well.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Where
we're
did you
learning
do
that.
grade 5?
Karratha.
Oh, right.
Yeah. That's right.
So
I
you've
grew
got
up in-
Scottish heritage. Is that like your parents were Scottish and came here and you were born here? Or?
Yeah, I'm first gen.
Yeah.
Mum was Scottish, dad's Irish.
Right.
Yeah, and I still don't have red hair.
Far out.
It's interesting.
Gutted.
That's interesting. What you
Are you-
vibe and the ginger look.
Yes.
You're disappointed that you don't have a tinge of ginger in the minge?
I definitely am.
Yeah, right.
I've tried getting it by osmosis, just,
Right, yeah.
but it doesn't rub off. So,
Just hooking up with gingers and stuff?
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Desperate. Doesn't work.
So,
You need to find the colour that will mix with your colour, hair colour, and then that way,
Sorry, I don't like you.
that's hilarious. Are you good at comedy? Like,
Using the
is your
word-
comedic timing like spot? Because Irish and Scottish, like, they're hilarious. Like, you go to Edinburgh Fest, and most comedians around the world will get torn apart when they go to Edinburgh Comedy Fest.
Yeah.
So, how's your comedic timing going?
I don't know, like, not great.
Not great.
No, I don't think so. No,
Yeah,
I don't think
right.
it's the skill I got.
And all right, let's dig a little bit into this. Is why we have the opportunity. We have Ali from Tea Time in. Let's dig into a little bit of Ali origin story.
Did I forget to do the plug?
Which plug?
The plug for the show.
For your show, you should
Yeah.
definitely plug your own show
I
as
should
much as
definitely-
possible. Any
Yeah.
opportunity you get, you should plug the show and your co-hosts and what time it's on.
This is why I'm here, to learn at your feet. See, I
Exactly.
get to do these things. No, we have a show on Wednesday night called Tea Time. It's where we spill the tea on all the sort of current events in the LGBTQI space.
Yeah.
And we talk about things that are going on around the world, if we can, the political stuff that's going on in Australia, and then we just pepper that with some interviews and up-to-the-minute queer artists.
what is the most recent development in the LBGTQI community? Did I say that right, Ali?
I think that was pretty good. If you say it fast enough, that's all it is.
Just sort of blends.
I call it the alphabet.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
I try to make an effort not to just sound like an ignorant white guy sometimes.
No, but that's what I love about our show.
Yeah.
We invite the ignorance. This isn't like
excellent. It's a discussion, open discussion.
Yeah. No, we had an interview last week with one of our new presenters. Have you met Lily?
No.
Lily Page Turner.
No.
Yeah.
I've heard that name somewhere.
She'll be famous one day.
Right.
Yeah, so we got her on, and I was so out of my depth. She's a trans woman and super smart, but also lovely.
Yeah.
That Venn diagram isn't that very big.
Right.
But I was able to just like blurt all the stuff I don't know about the trans community and the world and the process.
Right.
And she was totally cool with it. And I want that. That's what I want.
Was there much you don't know? Because, I mean, that's not your community specifically, but you are linked to their community through events and stuff like that.
Yeah, sort of. Yeah. Because it's under the umbrella.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's what I want people to realize. It's too much to expect anyone to know everything. All the time, and you don't know something till you're told.
And just when you feel like you're sort of up to date, that's when you find out there's a whole change happen or something's happened in society to trigger an event, and you find, oh wow, I'm actually pretty far behind. And I guess that's what it's all about, is education, isn't it?
Well, yeah, but not in a serious way. We're not here to
not to disown,
because it's about tolerance, and I think that's what I find is it's a community that's based on tolerance and sort of acceptance and letting people live how they want to live, what makes it happy, it's equality isn't just like people having rights to do so. I think equality is about everybody has equal right to live a happy life. And if that means that some people want to do things a little bit differently, who's it hurting,
Yeah, that's it. That's the base mark. That's the benchmark. Is it hurting you? Is it hurting someone else? If not, go and pick your own potatoes.
So how do you feel about some of the so-called sort of woke community? Can we get you more in frame, Ali? That would be excellent.
Hello.
How do you feel about some of the sort of air quote woke community that sort of attack ignorance?
No, can you give me an example? I think it might be. On which side of the fence you're coming down on.
Sort of like being a middle-aged white guy, it would be easy for me to sort of ignorantly insult somebody, and some people take serious offence to something that I may say unintentionally, just in conversation. I might be asking a question, and I think there might be some people in the sort of woke community that are sort of wound a little bit tighter than others.
I think so.
And
that can be because they've experienced trauma, or there's been something that really, really, triggers that response. I think, look, you always give someone a chance, right?
Yeah.
The first time you meet someone, if they misgender you or whatever, just say, hey, no, actually a girl. And then it's up to that person to change their mind if they're going to change the way they speak to that person.
Yeah.
You have to give people the opportunity to grow, and they're not going to know that if you're yelling at them.
Yeah, right. So you wouldn't recommend sort of continuously reinforcing that point, sort of maybe mention it to them. If they choose to accept it, then happy days, we can all move on. But if not, don't get into a conflict about it, and more just like... Yeah.
It's a bad idea, right? Trying to do that's a lot of energy, and usually the payoff is terrible.
I used to actually say that about people getting into relationships and stuff, like they meet somebody out at the club that's like a free spirit or something like that, and partying and stuff, and then they're lucky enough to get into a relationship with someone they're attracted to, and then they want to change that person and tame them, like, oh, I'm not really happy with you going out and spending so much time grinding up against people on the dance floor anymore, It's like... I get that's maybe what you want, but you can't get into a relationship with someone expecting them to change because, I mean, theoretically, even if they do change, you're changing the person you fell for in the first place. So it's...
Kind of. Yeah, you want to tweak them, and what you have to remember is it's up to them to change.
Sorry, I'm all over the place tonight. We actually have a caller coming in. In general, I'd just let the interview go.
Yeah.
Because it's actually Ali's other half, his partner.
Oh, really?
I thought if you're up for it, we can add him to the conversation.
How do we get it? We need more headsets, though.
I can jump back in there. And
he's not outside, is he? Just in the rain like a sad kitten.
Get him in here.
No, I don't think he's outside. I don't recall that.
How far away is he?
He's meant to be studying.
Oh, really? What's he studying?
Hypnosis.
Really?
Yeah.
Man, that is so cool. How long's he been studying it for?
Well, on and on. He had a qualification that took him 6 years, I think. Thereabouts, like a couple of
years.
Really? Yeah. And then...
That's longer than your standard apprenticeship. You can go do a 3-year apprenticeship and mess with people's homes.
True.
I suppose you're messing with people's minds, so you would want to make it a little bit longer.
Oh,
yeah.
We'd need a headset at least for you too, wouldn't we?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We'd need at least one more headset in here.
Oh, yeah, because I need to hear him.
Yeah.
So you know what? I know what he's going to say.
That's hilarious. It's
fine.
Yeah.
That's funny. So 6-year course and then...
Oh, and then...
See if you can find another headset, and then I can give this one to Ali, even if it's one of the ones that jacks into here. Where's Brenton's one? Find that. He won't mind.
Dad's or...
Yeah.
Where was I?
Hypnosis.
The qualification got... I don't know, disbarred or whatever. Like, it's no longer accepted by insurance companies.
What?
Yeah, just canned. So he's redoing it. He's signed up for another one.
And so does he get pushed through quicker, like a recognition of prior learning thing, or?
No, because apparently it's all new stuff.
What?
Yeah.
And how do you say that? So do you have, like, does he practice on guinea pigs? People volunteer to be hypnotised and he gets to walk in and...
I think how they do it is they get them in little groups on Zoom and they practice on each other, sort of in scenarios. And
let me see if I can give you this, Ali.
Musical headphones.
Yes, and then if I can hear the conversation in these headphones, we'll be able to get your partner, Anton?
Andre.
Oh,
wait, might have wanted to use a fake name. Oh. Too late now. Anyway, his name's Andre. I'll give you his address.
Are we on?
Oh, he's in so much trouble. He's in so much trouble.
Is Andre with us now?
I sure am. How are you?
Hey, Andre, pleased to sort of meet you through a telephone line in a way.
Well, we met the other day, kind of. We have met before.
I think, we've sort of met in passing here and there. But, it'll be nice to actually have a chat with you. Your partner, Ali, has brought in a drink with us. We actually haven't even had a sip of it yet, so I'm just going to quickly... Ali, what are we drinking?
My bottle of red wine.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very nice.
It's the good stuff.
I'm not normally a wine drinker, but when in Rome...
Well, it's not to be pretentious, and it's not because it's of my people, and it's not because it's after 10 p.m. and, we're all going to get... Of my people.
That's hilarious. I like that term.
Yeah.
What would you say is something that's of your people?
Of my Drag Race. It's of my people. Or matching small dogs' outfits with their own. That's a thing. Yeah. I don't know.
I just wanted to quickly ask. I'm probably going to get myself in a lot of trouble here and stuff.
I can't reach you.
Fine. Yeah, you're all right.
You're out of the zone.
It's a thing, like, I noticed... lesbian couple at the markets the other day and stuff, and I'm definitely going to get myself in trouble here. They sort of stood out straight away because they're wearing some of the sort of stereotypical clothes, cut-off jean shorts, Doc Martens and stuff like that, bit of a torn jean vest. And
uniform.
And then obviously there was two women walking along together holding hands, so, but I was just like, I don't find... jean shorts and Doc Martens very fashionable, so I don't understand what it is that, like, gay guys super fashionable, gay women not so fashionable.
There is a good answer for that. It's not because we're better.
I've got an answer too.
Excellent.
You're supposed to be studying, young man.
No, don't listen to him. I mean, you probably should.
I was doing a jigsaw puzzle when he left home.
A jigsaw puzzle?
I am
That's not studying.
It's sort of meditative.
I need to talk about your studies more because Ali's just dropped on me that you're actually studying to become a hypnotist. So I need to talk about that more. And we'll dive in. Hypnotherapist. What's the difference between a hypnotist and hypnotherapist?
Hypnotist is what happens on stage. It's bullshit. And hypnotherapist deals with real problems.
Ali's just made a little money signal as well.
Yep.
Like he's done the fingers, like money.
Oh, ka-ching, sorry.
Ka-ching. Yes. But yeah, sorry, back to my original question. Why does why does there seem to be that fashion discriminates between...
because there's a need ingrained in gay men when they're quite young to prove their worth.
Right.
They are not seen often, right? In bygone days, maybe it's changed now, but they're not seen as worthy of being part of the mask hetero dude group, right? They're not accepted quite by that group of animals.
So the alpha jocks and the
and
then the betas and that whole cycle of
stereotypes exist for a reason.
Yeah,
and similarly, they're not quite accepted by women or people presenting as women because they're not that either. They're a third, beautiful, wonderful thing.
Yeah,
they're their own thing, but the need, which often develops when they're young, because you're just a teenager, you need to feel accepted.
Yeah,
it develops into different ways. So you become like the gay best friend, or you become overly fun. You know, that stereotype of the fun gay guy,
sassy and stuff like that.
Yeah. So you develop that personality, or you show off that you are talented in some other way. It's peacocking, right?
Yeah.
And it's just about saying I am. Like I deserve to be here.
I think there's almost a sense that everybody wants to have a point of difference about themselves, and that sort of shows that they can contribute to society, and it validates their place in society because diversity is our biggest strength. So if you have a point of difference, that's something that you can lean into, you know.
That's so true, you're right. And it's the opposite for lesbians. Sort of.
Right.
Because there is so much societal pressure on them to look pretty, be feminine, have the fashion sense, change with the seasons, whatever, wear makeup.
Right.
The antithesis to that is to double down on being, to show that you don't care about the way other people want you to look.
Yeah.
That sort of thing.
Yeah.
It's the same thing, but just on two sides of a coin.
Gay woman or lesbian? What would be the preferred term?
I think lesbian.
Considering we don't actually have anyone here to represent them at the moment, we are just three males having a conversation.
It's been our trouble as well. We wanted to get a co-host who could kind of fill in the blanks, because I don't know any lesbian. I know one lesbian. She's fine.
Yeah.
So we would like to represent those people.
For someone that's fairly ignorant like myself, and I haven't done a deep dive into that world, but you tend to get two stereotypical kinds of lesbian, one being the butch and one being the lipstick lesbian.
I love that term. I really, really love that term. I don't know if it's still being used. It probably is.
Yeah.
Because these subcultures, they just keep on flourishing, and there's new ones all the time. Like I even learned there's a new type of bear the other day that I hadn't heard of. Yeah. There's like 8 times a bear now.
What?
Yeah, it's crazy.
So
Am I
you
right?
know what a bear is?
Yeah, all right. You might have to explain to my audience what a bear is.
Okay, go for it, Andre. He knows. He used to go to the meetings.
Oh.
There's meetings.
Bear is a big, stocky, hairy man.
Right.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
And there's 8 different kinds of big, hairy, stocky man in the gay community at the moment.
At least, yeah.
Right.
And then if you go to Japan, it's completely different.
And does that come down to sort of how they want to present themselves, how much money they have, like a bear that's a sugar daddy, a bear that's just there for comfort purposes? Just like really good at cuddles and stuff, you know?
Yeah, that's what I look for in a partner. Someone that's really good at cuddles. You got to be.
Yeah.
Right? I don't care how much money you have.
You're cuddling the majority of the time, you know? It can't always be like the heavy action, you know? That can only last for so long, and then you've got to do something else.
Have you been with someone that's a real gym freak?
Nah.
It's like hugging marble. It
yeah,
sucks.
right. Yeah. Got ya.
Yeah. Can't deal with it. Andre likes muscles, don't you, buddy?
I love muscles.
Yeah, there he goes.
Yeah, nice. And so how buff is too buff?
Oh, yeah.
So
I've got a pretty low tolerance, actually.
Let's go sort of Zac Efron.
Oh, like when he was in Baywatch?
Yeah, like...
A bit too buff?
Yeah, right.
A bit too much for me, yeah. Like a good rock climber's body, right? Is
so lean.
Lean, like
you
a
don't
stallion.
Want like the sort of Arnies and stuff like that.
No.
Too much.
I don't get it, no.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. I had a housemate.
I know, I like Arnie.
Yeah, I know you do. I'm going to buy him a box set for Christmas.
And is that Arnie for the physique, or is that Arnie just because he's like a top G?
Oh, the charisma.
No, Arnie. I mean, I like the physique of
Mr.
what
World.
Arnie had.
Oh, yeah. Very good.
Wait, was it Mr. World or Mr. Universe?
Mr. Universe
Mr.
or something.
Universe.
He's
an amazing guy, though. He really is.
I didn't get Andre to answer my first question about Did you have some input on the fashion sense question?
I did, and it was very simple. It was straight men don't have fashion sense, mostly, or for the most part, as lesbian women don't. And straight women have fantastic fashion sense that gay men aspire to.
Yeah, right.
So you're saying that in prehistoric times, not prehistoric, okay, olden times, thousands of years ago, there were men running around and they would like squish berries into their loincloth to make it more interesting. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I mean, I think that what you're saying about sort of straight men not having fashion sense, I sort of agree with that. Like, I'm never really confident in what I'm wearing and stuff like that. But every now and then I'm like 95% confident, and you get that feeling like, yeah, I'm looking sharp. And I sort of think about that when it comes to the transgender community, you know, like everybody gets dressed up to go out, you have a look in the mirror, and if you're wearing clothes that you're really happy with, your hair's sitting the right way, you know, you feel good, you've got confidence, you step out knowing that you've got it all covered and stuff, you know. And I think with people that go into the transgender community, like they're putting on stereotypical clothes or gender-specific clothes for what they're born as biologically, and they never get that feeling. No matter what they're wearing, they never get that feeling that they're just like really comfortable in what they're wearing, you know.
Makes it worse.
If they, and if they then just sort of switch it up and wear non-gender specific clothes, then if they can get that feeling, that's awesome, man. Everybody should be able to get that confidence and spring in their step.
Never let anyone tell you what you can't wear.
Yeah.
If you want to wear a cape and a top hat and a monocle, you go ahead and do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, even if you don't need it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, some things are just impractical. And I think like that's the other thing about the transgender community is like from a middle-aged white guy's point of view, I think it looks like a lot of effort. You know, like we already know how much effort women go through when they get ready to go out and stuff like that. It's like hours compared to me, like 10 minutes, you know?
Really?
And so I think
so jealous.
A lot of, they're putting a lot of effort in, but if that's what you've got to do to achieve the feeling that you want when you walk out the door, then that's up to you.
As long as it's for you.
Yeah.
Right? If you're dressing.
I'm a 10-minute man.
Yeah,
Sorry?
I said I'm a 10-minute man.
A 10-minute man?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
I don't have the time to you know, fluff around for an hour. I don't have the patience.
That's what it is.
When you're on your way to your hypnotherapy studies?
Like, I'll get up 10 minutes before I have to leave the house and
I'm pretty bad for that. I'll leave it to the last minute. I'll set my alarm to get up early. I think, I'll get up tomorrow. I'll get an early start and I'll get a jump on the day and get ahead of it. And then that alarm goes off and I hit snooze. And then it goes off again. I hit snooze again until I've used up all the time I have available. And you start negotiating with yourself in your head like, I could get up now, or
I'll get that 1 minute of not sleep. Like, I'm not even sleeping anymore. I'm not getting the benefit of sleep by staying here.
I'm pretty sure I still had a clean shirt in that pile of washing somewhere.
Am I still wearing the one from yesterday?
Yeah.
That'll do.
It doesn't matter.
Fine.
As long as I can get another 10 minutes sleep.
Now, see, what you said before kind of interested me, that you mentioned confidence.
Yeah.
Is that, you reckon that's really the reason? Is it because, like, you think no one showed you how to
no.
experiment with colour?
It's not specifically that. I mean, I grew up in a society where boys would get picked on if they chose to grab an item that was pink
Yeah, of course.
You know, so there's gender-specific toys, and if a boy's playing with Barbies, what are you doing playing with Barbies and stuff? Which, I mean, shouldn't really be a big deal. You know?
It shouldn't.
And, I mean, if you look at some of the He-Man dolls anyway, it's like...
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's more gay?
Yeah,
really?
Yeah, you know, so it's just like, whatever. Let kids do what they want to do and don't sort of pigeonhole them and stuff. But when did you come out, Ali?
It was a soft opening.
Right, yeah.
Never did the party thing.
Yeah.
I never felt the need. I just rocked up to family Easter with a boyfriend one day.
Oh, right.
Yeah. I thought,
how old were you at the time?
21.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, everyone
So
knew.
that's a sort of... Is that considered a late coming out, or...?
I reckon.
Yeah.
But look, I've known guys that come out in their 40s and they've already married, had kids, and then they're just like, oh, wait, no, I figured it out now.
Right.
Or I'm ready. Maybe better.
Yeah, right.
It's like I wish it
And
had
had
been
you rocked
sooner.
up to family events with girlfriends before that?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So that had happened, but...
And how did your family react?
Half and half, really.
Yeah.
There was some kind of tentative support, but fear for me. You know what I mean? I think that was it.
Really?
Yeah, caring comes in the form of fear in my family a lot. We're a bunch of scared, jittery little people.
That's funny.
Yeah. So that was it. I've got nothing but warnings. Like, okay, this is great, but you know how hard this is going to be for you, and you know how dangerous it is. No. So anyway, that and the other half were like, we don't talk for a bit, and maybe get out of my house, and maybe don't come back for a little while.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah,
man.
yeah,
That's hectic.
I think that's getting a lot less common.
And
though.
so were these like sort of close family members that took that stance?
Yeah.
That sucks, man.
It does, but you can't blame everybody. Like,
I suppose that's sort of what we were touching on before about like it's tolerance, and you sort of need to be tolerant of intolerance.
yes,
Like you need to accept the fact that not everybody's going to be on board with it. And,
That's right.
I mean, if you chose to fight that battle of trying to make everybody get on board with it, then you're setting yourself up for a world of hurt. Anyway.
It would age you. You'd get wrinkles. No, you don't need that. It's too much stress.
Yeah.
You just relieve yourself of the stress. It's like road rage.
Yeah.
Like, you could get angry at the guy that cut you off, and you could follow him home, and you could be like, making a point, you're a dangerous driver, I want to get your license, and you pull it out from his wallet and you snip it in two in front of him, and then you flick both halves in his face.
Yeah.
Or you could just not, but by the time you've done all that,
I like the way you really painted a picture there.
the
Artistic.
whatever the artistic leanings, I love that. Whatever the stress hormone is, do you know what it is? No, it doesn't matter. You've got all of that and adrenaline and stuff coursing through your veins, and it's just not a good feeling, right?
Yeah.
So forget about it.
Yeah, it's hard, and people don't. I think that's a little bit of what I was talking about with Sarah just before you came in. Is sort of different methods of coping with those sort of situations and stuff. Because ultimately, you got to sort of skip to the end game of what you're going to achieve. You know, like what's the best that you can achieve in that situation, and how much are you putting on the line to achieve that point? You know?
Yeah. It's not your job to save the world, change everybody.
Yeah, you can't police the world,
Can't.
because unfortunately, when it comes to supply and demand, there is always a bigger supply of idiots than there is a demand for them.
And that's not to say you stand on the sidelines either, right? Like if you see something bad, and we need to all do this as a society more, right? If you see someone acting up on a train, really getting in someone's face or just saying the wrong stuff, like I think I'd like to see 2 or 3 people stand up and say,
That's
no,
not okay.
you know,
Yeah.
and just call them out. So not do nothing, because that would achieve something. That would save somebody's life, if not their afternoon.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Have you ever done that? Like, you kind of seem like
Oh,
the sort of guy that would stand up for the little guy. You've got a big heart. I know that.
I've done it once.
Really?
Yeah, well, it was out the back of Liquid's nightclub, and a guy had been rocked and dropped, and the guy was still standing over him. I was like, nah, he's had enough. And he was getting, like, really racist with it and stuff. And I was like, nah. Gave him his marching orders, basically, and then helped the guy up and give him a lift home and stuff like that. But I was just like, what are you doing, man? It's so whack. Like, violence and confrontation I don't really like. I'll just try and shut a situation down. I've never actually been in a physical fight in my adult life.
Really?
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense. What are you going to achieve from it, you know?
Yeah, no, I've never started a fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't understand it.
Yeah. It's wild.
It's a different kind of brain. But
I've
then
talked
again,
my way out of fights. I've had guys that have wanted to like have a go at me and stuff like that, and I've managed to talk my way out of it just by sort of changing their perspective at the time.
Did they come back for a beer?
What do you sort about guys that just want to biff, who want to throw punches and stuff? Because I've never been in a fight before, and I can, like you, Kit, I can talk myself out of things, but I don't even don't get to that point.
Yeah.
So what is it about?
Blew my mind once. Similar situation actually at the back of Liquid's nightclub, and a big fight had sort of sprawled out into the car park, and then that sort of amounted to not much. But then we started going back inside, and a couple of guys that had sort of come up to me and bailed me up, and they said to me, "You go and start a fight with somebody, and then we're going to back you up." You know, I was like, "What are you talking about?" You know, like, yeah.
Yeah, there's guys that go looking for it.
Yeah, we've
like,
come out for a good time tonight. Yeah. If we can't fornicate, then we're going to fight. They didn't actually say fornicate. I've just made that a sort of PG version. So you go start a fight. If you don't go and start a fight, we're going to start a fight with you. You know?
Yeah.
And I just sort of laughed and I said, good luck with that, and walked away and just walked straight back inside, and they didn't know what to do. And the other guy that wanted to bail me up is he was actually a security guard in a nightclub, and an altercation started that his girlfriend was on the dance floor dancing with one of the guys that I was there with and stuff like that. I was just like, oh my God, this is so tedious, you know. And so there was all this tension popping off across the dance floor and stuff, and so I've gone up to him in the club and I said, mate, apparently one of my guys has a problem with one of your guys and stuff like that. Can we just like sort this out, you know? And then so he started coming over, yelling at me and stuff like that. And I'm like, mate, I can't hear. It's a nightclub, you know. Couldn't hear anything. So I said, oh, let's go outside and talk, you know. You want to go outside? You want to go outside? Right, let's go outside. So he
said the magic words.
Jumping around. He runs outside. This is what he's all about and stuff. And his girlfriend at the time actually grabbed me and said, do not go outside with him. That is not a good idea. I was like, no, it's all right. Don't worry about it. It's all good. I've got this, you know. And so I went outside. Downstairs, this was actually at like Equators or the Vibe. I think it was the Vibe at the time in Rockingham. Downstairs, and this guy's jumping around and he starts making shapes like he's getting ready to fight.
Did he take his shirt off?
No, I didn't do the shirt off and stuff. He was actually a security guard there, which is just like wild that they're having someone that's meant to be resolving conflicts that is so eager to get into one, you know. And so he's like, I'm going to F you up, you know, I'm a Muay Thai champion and stuff like that. You know, I just went, really? And he's like, yeah. I said, can you teach me? And he was like, what? I said, can you teach me Muay Thai? Because that's really cool, man. I've never, did you do it seriously? And he's like, yeah. I said, like, can we do lessons and you can teach me a little bit? And he's like, oh, only if you're going to take it seriously. And then we ended up becoming really close mates after that.
That's amazing. That's because I was just thinking, my theory on this is that it's kind of about validation and acceptance, right? So they've got an idea in their head of how they could be accepted by the people around them, and that's to show strength and show power and control and stuff. And so being the biggest and most violent and whatever in the room, right, making those performances is a way that everyone can see that you are that guy. Now, look, they don't think it through because obviously people like their girlfriend and their parents and everyone else, you know, finds it off-putting. Yeah. But that's the reason, right? And what you're saying is good. What you gave him in that moment was you recognized validation
of what he was all about, of being a good fighter and stuff like that, you know.
So smart.
I sort of gave him that, and then basically, just sort of let him know that I'm not there to fight. You know, like I'm there to just chat and let's talk. And
this is going to come in handy because I believe I heard on little birdie wire that you are hosting a political debate soon.
How did you hear about that?
I have spies everywhere.
Got your finger on the pulse, Sally.
He's got the spy cam hidden in the studio.
There's still a couple of details that are being worked out, but obviously because Mark McGowan unexpectedly quit, he has forced a by-election in the seat of Rockingham, and we are looking at putting together a debate between. Awesome. I know we've got at least one Liberal and two Labor candidates. There might be one more in the mix. I think they've narrowed it down to either the 14th or 16th of July.
Wow.
We'll be, hosting a debate.
Are you going to get
I'm
the
really
guy in from Saturday night in?
Sorry?
Are you going to get the guy from Saturday night in?
Which guy from Saturday night? Oh, no, the quiz night. Yeah, he is the the Liberal candidate for the seat of Rockingham. So,
don't say Labor.
Yeah, no, there is two Labor candidates, but he's the Liberal candidate, and I was sort of checking it out a little bit because I need to be sort of up to date if I'm going to be hosting the debate.
Should brush up.
And apparently the Liberal candidate actually lives in Rockingham. One of the other Labor candidates lives in Baldivis. She actually doesn't really care much about Rockingham, and one of them has been pushed through and basically approved by Roger Cook and all the unions. And apparently Rockingham has been a Labor seat since 1974 when it first started. So,
wow.
Traditionally, I am actually a Labor voter, but just hearing it's always been a Labor seat, when Trish told me that, I said, you know what? Challenge accepted. So, Peter, the Liberal candidate, actually looks like a good fella. So,
yeah. I should get involved. I should pay some more attention. We're so apathetic, right?
Local politics, man, like you ask people about the American election, everybody's got an opinion on Biden and Trump and stuff like that. You ask them who holds the seat for their local area, and a lot of people won't even be able to tell you.
You reckon? I thought it was the opposite. Like they make a big deal out of going to town hall meetings and meeting the candidates.
And of course they have about here in Australia.
Were you?
Oh, yeah. So I was talking about like Australians and stuff like that. And most people that we meet here, they know more about American politics than what's happening in their own backyard.
Guilty.
And it's so weird. Yeah, same here. Yeah. Like I could sit here and me and Nate have a lot of times sat here and
the US
talking about American politics and stuff like that.
How is this so embarrassing though?
Yeah.
I don't remember that. Okay, and I don't think I've ever voted for someone who stayed in office the entire term.
Yeah, right.
Never.
Wild.
Isn't that crazy? That is appalling.
Yeah. I actually didn't vote for a long time, just because I'm a rebel.
Don't you get
I'm like quite a non-conformist. I don't like the fact that we're mandated to vote, because what ends up happening is you end up with people that know nothing about politics just throwing a vote on the last person they've seen on the telly.
And on that note, I think we should change the voting age down to 16.
Yeah.
Younger people are getting more and more involved in politics these days.
And it affects them. Yeah. And it affects them for longer.
That's one of the biggest arguments about Joe Biden and stuff like that, is he's sort of dictating the future for a country that he's not going to be a part of for very long,
Yeah.
So
oldest reigning president, is that right?
Was,
yes.
Yeah. Nate?
So in the 80s, what's his name?
Reagan?
Reagan had it, and then Trump took the title in 2016.
Good on him.
And Biden was like, hold my beer, and he took it. And now if Trump gets back in, he will overthrow him again, because he'll be older than Biden was when he got elected in 2020.
Good Lord.
So Trump will be like, you hold my beer, I'm taking it back, if he gets in.
It's realistic, though, right? That it happens, that he gets back in?
Yeah. He's got so many indictments against him at the moment, like 37 or something outstanding. A lot of them have the potential to send him to prison. I was talking to my dad the other day, who's actually in Arkansas, and he reckons that the way the Constitution is set up over there, even if he goes to jail, he could still be the President of the United States.
No.
Yeah.
From a cell.
Oh, that's amazing.
Wild, man. I almost want to see it, you know? Like, it cracks me up. Like, I mean, our politics is a little bit naff, Tony Abbott eats an onion, bloody Scott Morrison sitting there with the ukulele and stuff like that.
Good curry.
What are you just doing? But then you've got American politics that it's just like, as soon as you hear Trump's running again, you're just like, oh, the circus is back on the road.
I actually thought that for the US thing, I actually thought it very unlikely that a president will get 2 non-consecutive terms, which means right after another. But it has happened. I can't remember which president. I know that he had a massive moustache, but he was served, and then someone was in between, and then he got back in.
Clinton had 2, Bush had 2, Obama had 2.
But they were right after. They ran again using their second term right after their first term. There's one other president. He ran, got replaced, and then ran again and got in.
Wow.
Interesting. Yeah. I can't imagine being in that arena for that many years. I mean, look, you've seen the pictures, right, of how much Obama aged from the first day to when he left. It must do a number on you.
He was the coolest president ever, eh?
Yes.
Still making the news. He's talking about technocracy now and how AI is dangerous and how we need to resolve that and potential for saving people.
We do a deep dive into a bit of a conspiracy theory
conspiracy
here and there.
Yeah.
And you hear some about Obama, and I'm just like, nah. Like, I'll believe a few conspiracy theories and I'll give them a little bit of grace and stuff, but not with Obama.
My favourite with Obama was the one where he's actually an ancient Egyptian pharaoh. Have you seen that one?
Wow.
I
love that.
There's actually a statue, or is it a statue or is it like a carving? So I remember it's like, it actually looks just like him, and he was even in Egypt while... at the time, currently being the president, and he just looks around and goes, "That guy looks like me."
That's a pretty good impression. I like that. Mummy Michelle. Yeah.
That being said, there's actually a Egyptian statue with a no nose that looks like Michael Jackson as well. So.
That's funny. That's actually a funny joke.
That's very good.
It's actually realistic. There is actually one. It's not a joke.
Did his nose actually melt off during a concert?
No, he had surgery.
I remembered that. Yeah, because he had something going on there, and then he ended up looking like a bat for a while.
And he ended up wearing the mask. Like, he was way ahead of the pandemic with his mask wearing.
Oh, he was always ahead of his time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Really, really amazing. He hasn't had a musical written about him, I don't think.
No, just the movie.
They're making a movie now. His nephew playing him or something.
I thought they already made that.
Actually,
movie.
I was going on TikTok the other day. There's a guy I really want to get in. I have to reach out. His name is Fabio Jackson.
No. Who is that?
Quickly
Give me a
Google
little bit
him.
more information.
Quickly Google him.
Chosen name or stage name?
How do I bring up?
I'm not sure if the Jackson is chosen or not. I know Fabio is obviously his name. There it is. Just search it up. Fabio, Fabio.
Fabio. Do you know the original Fabio, Nate?
The most beautiful man in the cosmos.
That's the one.
Yes.
Nate's not old enough to know.
I probably would if I...
This one?
Second one. Just like
Second
Michael
one.
Jackson.
Oh,
yeah.
Fabio Jackson.
Click on that and then have a look at the images.
Why?
Have a look at the images. This guy was on TikTok.
He looks exactly like Michael Jackson.
Holy cow.
Because he's making TikToks, and I'm like, wait, Michael Jackson can't make TikToks. But yeah, I really want to get this guy, reach out to him and say...
And just a random picture of David Bowie in the middle of it.
Yeah.
For some reason.
Well, the thing is, people, everywhere this guy goes...
Yeah. Oh, right.
Or it looks like him.
Oh, no,
but
that's
it's still Fabio
That
Jackson.
sort of looks a bit like Bowie.
So that's his thing, just looking like dead legends.
Yeah.
Cool.
But everywhere Fabio goes...
This is what the internet's brought us.
Yeah. Everywhere Fabio goes, he signs autographs, does all the dancing and everything, and people actually...
I'd be more interested to see the original Fabio.
There he is right there. That little kid.
The original Fabio.
Oh, no, not the original Fabio. I mean that guy before he had his nose.
80s Fabio. Look, if I just delete this Jackson bit...
Yeah.
He's not even the first search term.
For the listeners, we're looking at images of this guy, but...
Fabio.
Oh, the mane on that man, right? Yeah. He's like a lion in the jungle.
I can't grow hair like that anymore. I've got too much of a receding hairline. And I just look at like one of those creepy old guys that's got like a ponytail and a mad receding hairline and stuff.
Mate, I'm a gay man with a mustache who works at a primary school. I have to be on my toes.
You've got a good look.
Yeah, but the parents are wary. They are.
Really?
Yeah,
that's
but
a real thing.
Looks all the time, just little. They're like whisper. They're like, you know, and I just, it's rough because what I really want to do is go over there with a sheet and a clipboard full of statistics that show that I'm the least likely person to mess with their kids.
Yeah.
The least.
Yeah.
You know? And they don't know that, but they've still got this thing in their head.
That sort of tension or atmosphere is even created and stuff like that, you know?
It's a lack of education, isn't it? At the same time,
Absolutely.
I was going to ask you earlier, a lot of that, education and acceptance, that's the answer is to learn, to be open to learning for starters.
Tolerance.
But tolerance. But do you think that there's people, we were talking at the beginning of the interview about people that, are on dead against, like someone, for example, a mid-50s white male would be dead against like the homosexual community or the LGBT as a whole.
Yeah, for whatever reason.
A lot of it, obviously, not understanding or, lack of exposure and understanding. But do you think a lot of it could just be people who are genuinely against maybe the politics of how, these riots and things are happening, how big it's become in the political scene, maybe against that, but for example, might have a best friend like you who they get along and support with greatly. Is that a common thing? And how does that sort of fit in with?
Yeah, okay. I think I get you. People often don't care about something until it affects them personally, right? And they can be staunch against it, and then, like you say, someone close to them comes out, and all of a sudden they flip their tune and I've got to protect this, because it's me. Yeah. And you've got to wonder, why don't we have that same level of compassion for strangers? It's a weird thing. That's probably just an animal thing, right?
And that's exactly how they sort of play one country off against the other in politics and stuff like that, we go to wars, and if you actually sit a couple of Ukrainians down, a couple of Russians down in the same room, and they explain how they grew up and what they've done, they'd realise they're just human beings. They don't want to hurt each other, but they're forced into these situations by politics and external influences and stuff like that to be forced to believe that they're different, and they should be afraid of people that are different,
National pride's interesting. Everyone's taught to have it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's a indoctrinated segregation from the rest of the world, which is negative. But at the same time, when you see people who are so passionate about their country and its history, and they're just, you know what I mean? They want to wear the flag's colours, and they want to tell everyone the history and stuff. That's a beautiful thing as well. I don't know. What do you do for Australia Day?
Very controversial. I do appreciate Australia. If they want to change the date, happy for them to change the date. I definitely think we live in a good country, but I don't like saying I'm Australian, they're American, they're European, they're Chinese and stuff like that. We're all Earthian.
Right.
We're all stuck on the same speck of dust that's hurtling through the universe at thousands of miles a minute,
Under a giant dome.
Hey?
Under a giant dome.
Under a giant dome, flat earther. Nate's a flat earther.
Oh, cool.
100%.
Okay.
We often have debates and stuff.
Oh, look, but it doesn't matter if the Earth is flat or round. There are still giant beams of ions or something coming from a distant star that we can't detect because they're moving too gosh darn fast and obliterate the planet in a second anyway. We won't know.
We need to insert.
It could happen at any moment.
We need to insert a giant beam, the more you know.
That's what I think, hey?
Like a cosmic aneurysm.
I think people get so caught up trying to control everything, in their day-to-day life and stuff, and want to control, and they get so stressed out about it. But the reality is that, stock markets crash, tsunamis rise, the Andromeda Galaxy is colliding with our galaxy as we sit here and talk on the radio, and there ain't nothing nobody can do to control none of that, man, No. It makes me realise that control is only ever a temporary illusion at best, and that in the grand scheme of things we don't control anything except how much love we want to show each other in the realistically brief amount of time that we're here.
Oh, that's lovely.
And on that note, I'd like to say that I love you guys,
I love you too, man.
I've got a lot of love for all sorts of people,
I do feel like actually saying I love you, or even the act of hugging and that, which maybe not as accepted in society at this point in time, but actually saying
towards it.
Actually saying it is not something that a lot of people are comfortable with yet. A lot of people need to get past that. I'm starting to get past that and starting to show the people that I care about in just little ways. Oh yeah, I love you too. You like that sort of thing.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, but mean it when you say it, right?
Yeah, exactly. So it's
I hate the throwaway "I love you."
It's just like, oh yeah,
right. It's got to have meaning behind it.
Yeah,
and that's what I think. I say that I love everyone and stuff, and that literally means everyone. Yeah. It takes everybody to make up the intricate fabric that makes a society, and that means for every junkie that's in a destitute situation, that also provides an opportunity for some Mother Teresa-like character to come along and save them. Yeah. So while there's down, there's also the polar opposite, which is a positive.
Even the most scary tyrant or anything on earth at one point was an infant. They had to have been. And that would, that person, that child You try and think of it that way. When you look in their eyes, know that they are just a person who's gotten to where they are by the circumstances that have surrounded them. And at one point, they were no different to you when you were at that same age and that same stage of life.
Except Kim Jong-un.
Yeah, there's a few.
Why is that?
Well, because he doesn't poop.
Really?
He doesn't have the necessary equipment to poop.
What?
And I think he was.
Is this a conspiracy theory? Or?
No. This is what they're taught. This is down the line. He is.
He's a deity.
Yeah. That's the word.
Right.
Yeah, he is different from all of you.
Their politics,
wow.
Yeah.
I mean, people are born into different situations, I suppose. Some people
not his fault either, really.
Yeah.
I mean, he could stop being a murderous dictator, maybe. I don't know. But then he'd become unpopular with I don't know. Everyone's got too many guns.
The polls probably dropped there. Like, you're probably like, oh, let's go easy on the killing this month and the executions and stuff. And then he noticed a dip in the polls. He's like, whoop, get back to killing.
There are no polls.
No, there
are
no polls. I actually spoke to, had a guy in the other week, Serbian Mike.
Oh, yeah?
I call him Serbian Mike just because he's from Serbia and stuff like that. And he grew up in communism.
Wow.
And he reckons it's, from what he was telling me, it's nothing like what I've been made to believe about communism and stuff. He said it's actually like really cool. The citizens get really well looked after, and everybody's sort of gets good medical, good dental. Every citizen gets like holiday pay and stuff like that.
That was under his government at the time, their leader. But we mention China as well, and he was like, that's just screwed. So I guess it depends on the leader.
Yeah.
And with
again, there's a little bit of, I think, pride back
like
to his own country there. He's like, Serbia did it right. China, they're all messed up.
Yeah.
But he reckons that they had a leader for like 40 years who fought on the front line with them when they'd go to war. Don't condone any wars, but I mean, it's interesting to see that a president would stand on the front line with their soldiers. And apparently when he died after 40 years in office, he had nothing to his name.
Wow.
No houses, no holiday homes, no like big bank accounts and stuff. It sounds like he did it for the right reasons, which was because it's what he wanted. He wanted the best for his country.
One in a million. Yeah. I mean, how we don't have that. Every time, it's a human thing, right? Every time we get close to a bit of power, like it corrupts people.
Yeah.
It's like the amount of countries that have tried communism.
Yeah.
And done it well. I mean, you can't count them on two hands because it doesn't work. On paper, it's beautiful, right? It's a beautiful, idealistic social structure where everyone gets a chance.
Yeah.
But as soon as you get some guys in charge of it, like, how long do you reckon it's going to be until we have a world leader? Because if we're all Earthians, we're still going to need a hierarchy.
Because that's where we can't. We need to embrace our diversity because that's our strength. Yeah. That's the only reason we've survived for so long. A media takes out the other side of the world. We've got a different species of human on the other side of the world that's not affected so much, Yep. It's our diversity and us always sort of creating differences that's our strength.
I don't think it's going to be that long before
we talk about one world government. But
I don't think we have that long until there is some sort of a one world government. I think governments will individually retain, at least at this stage, they'll individually retain their countries and govern in the same way that we have community governments underneath state governments and state governments in national government. But I think it'll be in more of a type of organisation like the World Health Organization and the World Economic Forum. And I
think even some of those companies, which are self-elected companies, by the way, like the World Economic Forum and the World Health Organization, who voted them into power?
Yeah, I didn't.
Exactly.
Well,
and now they're actually asking for powers to enforce mandates.
Yeah.
So they're going to turn our own armies against us to enforce mandates?
Well,
which is whack.
It's starting in South Australia, actually. Did you hear about the...
What?
Okay, so their cop cars are now endorsed. Like they have ads printed on the side of them. Like
privatising the police. I suppose revenue raising?
Nearly.
But well, you have sponsors, so you would have to... Wow.
But the thing is, they've done that. And they're also...
what sort of scenarios that could create.
Well, there's been a vote recently in South Australia. I don't know if it's actually happened yet, but the bill being passed was something that wouldn't allow protests.
Oh, yeah, to silence
protests.
People and stuff like that, which is just... whack that they would even say that within a democracy.
Do you know the punishment, the payment for unlawful, disturbing the peace or whatever. Do you know what that is? It's like $3,000, roughly around in all the different states. It's about $3,000, right? And no misdemeanor. You might spend a night in jail if you're a bit, but whatever. They want to raise it to $50,000 and 3 months in jail.
What?
And if you read the bill, it's loose, man. It's open to interpretation. A cop could just find you being just a little bit like waving a placard, I don't like what my local government's doing.
Yeah.
And you could be gone.
In jail.
Fire out. It'll get as bad as the footy where if they even just like lift their arms at the umpire, like, what do you mean that's a free kick? 50-metre penalty. It'll get that bad. You lift your arms to the cop, what do you mean I was speeding? That's it. You're protesting, $50,000 fine.
It's a weird time.
That's wild. And imagine the advertisements on the on the side of the cop cars, what that could create, Like you got, just for example, say like Dunkin' Donuts is advertising on the side of cop cars, and then they happen to pull over the CEO of Dunkin' Donuts. And they walk up to the side of the car and just like, you realise who's on the side of your vehicle and who I am,
Have you ever wanted to do Do you know who I am?
Oh,
wouldn't it be great?
Times.
Yeah, I just want to do it and not be anybody.
I'd love to have that confidence. I think they do it a lot for skit shows and stuff like that, and when they've actually got a meaning, but just to have the confidence of like a con man, that could walk into a place and say with confidence, don't you know who I am? And hold a straight face to the point where people actually react.
It's all about... my brother had it done to him once. He was working as a bartender over in LA.
Yeah.
And he was just serving drinks and whatever. He had this group of people walk up to him, and this tall, beautiful, statuesque woman just assaulted him and said, go and get me whatever drink she wanted, right? And he's like, no, I can't. I'm serving drinks to everyone else. He was supposed to be like a roving waiter, so he wasn't there to...
just a floater.
Yeah. And she goes, don't you know who I am? It was Angela Bassett.
Oh, I've heard that name before. Who's that?
Reasonably well-known actress. I know her from American Horror Story. She's done a couple of films since then. Right. And she is gorgeous and she is talented. But who knew? And the way he tells it, he said that he just ignored her, knew who she was, but pretended not to know.
Right.
Yeah, so just no, I don't know who you are.
Wow.
Walked off.
Apparently James Corden has basically been hit by cancel culture because he started doing the same thing. After they took down Ellen, apparently he came out, started mouthing off at a restaurant sort of along the lines of don't you know who I am? And boom,
heard that.
Corden's gone. He's like super camp for a straight guy.
I love a camp straight guy.
I've never seen a straight guy do so many musicals.
Michael McIntyre.
Take any opportunity. Oh, Michael McIntyre is hilarious, man.
Little wobbly thing.
Yeah.
You're right, though. I liked him in Into the Woods, James Corden. I think he's talented. I think he's great.
Yeah.
Not a good late-night host.
No, he left his show.
I mean,
he left?
Oh, well.
He was forced to leave. Yeah. But yeah, he had one good bit. That was that carpool karaoke or something.
Yeah.
And awesome.
You see the one with Celine Dion?
Yeah.
She's
very good.
She's lost her voice now.
What?
Wow.
Yeah.
Have you not heard about that?
No.
How do you not know about that?
I don't. There's too much to know.
I told you, I'm sure.
I don't listen to you, honey.
That's hilarious. How can you not listen to news about Celine Dion and call yourself a respectable gay man?
I know. Take my card, revoke my...
Take my card. You get a membership card when you join.
That's how we get to the meetings where we discuss the agenda.
Right.
Yeah.
To push your agenda.
That's right, yeah.
That's hilarious. I remember when my brother-in-law came out and he did the Christmas lunch sort of thing. I was just like, yeah, we know David. Like, he had been in the closet for a while, but there was a glass door on the closet. Everybody could see what was going on inside.
Not even frosted.
Not even frosted.
That's the worst thing you can do, though. And look, no one gives you the advice, but if someone's coming out to you, you need to make a big deal out of it. You need to, you need to be like, oh, wow, it's amazing. We didn't know. You blah, 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 blah. Like, that's what they need.
Yeah.
If you just go...
Yeah,
we are watching TV.
But I already knew because I had been to gay clubs with him and he had told me stories about how he hooked up with guys and stuff. So it was no big surprise, but he had a lot of anxiety before.
I'll bet, yeah.
And he's like, I don't know what to do. Like, this is my family and stuff. And he was sort of in a position where he was head of the family at the time because they didn't have a father figure. He was the eldest brother there. And he's like, I don't know what to do. And I said, go take your seat at the head of the family where you belong and speak your truth, brother.
And remember Alexander the Great, one of the, Greatest known in history. Fancy men in history. Yeah.
Fancy men. Yeah. What was it about Alexander the Great that we should remember?
Well, just that he conquered nations. He led massive armies. He was well respected by everyone.
Is
he
it
was
true
smart.
that he used to have someone walking around telling him, like, you're only mortal or something, just so he kept his ego in check?
I don't know, but I think that's a great story.
That's so I've heard and stuff.
Yeah. No, look, I want to believe the myth. I don't care about the truth. The story's better in some cases.
Absolutely. Don't let the truth get in the way of a good story,
Absolutely. Oh, like if you've got a scar, I don't want to hear your boring scar story. Make something up.
I know, right?
Make it up.
That's what I always think. I've got a few scars and stuff, and I always put a good story behind them.
It's good. It's for the other people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, a couple of random questions. Have we still got Andre there as well?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Go to bed.
That's hilarious. Just to learn a little bit more about Ali from Tea Time, what is the scariest moment you've ever had in your life?
That
I should put on the thinking music right now.
Yeah, that's that would be when I. Oh, it's really dark though. It's quite dark.
Do it.
Yeah. All right. So it's a bit gory, but when I walked into the laundry of my best friend's place when I was a teenager, and he was on the floor frothing from the mouth.
Right.
And then I didn't have it. Like when was this? Like the late 2000s. I don't know. I didn't have a mobile phone.
How old were you at the time?
14.
Right.
Yeah. So no mobile phones. His parents weren't there. My parents were I didn't know what to do.
It was an epileptic fit thing, or
no. He'd tried to chemically dissolve himself. I guess
it was a suicide thing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that was terrifying.
And was he successful?
He was not, thankfully.
Wow.
Yeah.
Was there long-lasting damage to him after that?
No, he recovered. Thankfully, he hadn't, I guess, done enough research. He didn't know what he was doing. He was just guessing, just making cocktails.
What had got him to that point?
Look, it's never just one thing, is it? Really?
Yeah, right.
It's a whole bunch of stuff. I reckon I think he's one of these guys that's going to come out as gay one day. I was convinced, absolutely.
Yeah,
but the day of his 18th birthday, he had a girlfriend who was 19 years old.
Yeah.
They got married the next day. He cut his beautiful long hair because her father demanded it.
No.
And then that's it. And they've had 2 kids. They've been to Disneyland, blah, blah, blah. But I'm not convinced.
Really?
I'm not convinced.
Far out. Yeah. He's not living his true life.
That's right.
Sounds like he's been squashed from the start.
I think they need a throuple. That's the answer.
A throuple?
Yeah, I want to try it.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. Have you thought about it? Have you ever added a third person to the proceedings?
No. We've pondered it. We've had the conversation, and because
You two are looking at each other.
No? I don't know what that was. But
I'm just like, okay, this is interesting.
No, but
sounds like something Danny would be in for.
This isn't something I normally admit, especially not lying on air. I've only ever been with one woman, and that's my current wife now, and we've sort of had that discussion, but I don't know, man.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
If you guys are good, then you're good. Don't worry about it.
So it's just like, but it has come up in conversation and stuff, and it's like, would you be open to swinging and stuff? And it's like, I think most people's opinion is like, oh, yeah, it's okay for me to do it. Oh, no, I'm not okay with you doing it, you know? Yeah. So once we sort of came to that sort of agreement that, we couldn't get our head around the other person getting involved in that sort of activity, that sort of settled that question.
Tricky. You've got to be really good communicators. You've got to be really, set the boundaries.
It's tricky, man. Because you're never going to get 3 people that are equally emotionally invested.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
There's always going to be some...
Do you have that in a couple, though?
Yeah, true.
One's always better looking.
Yeah.
All right. Are you the better looking one, Kit?
Nah.
You can tell me off air. It's fine.
I worked on her for years and eventually broke her down. And now mine looks have matured more compared to what I was when I was a young fella. And she's still good. She's still fit. But I'm doing all right. But, I definitely had to work on her for a while to wear her down.
Good work.
I'm always the better looking one in any relationship.
I'm persistent. What about you? We actually have a couple here on air.
Oh.
Who settled?
That's great. That's great. He settled. Yeah.
No, really?
No, he did. I've seen the guys that he's dated before me. He could do better.
Yeah,
he could do better. Yeah, I don't know what it is. Everyone loves him. He's in high demand. He's
You do all right, though. You got a good look about you. You're very personable. You're approachable.
No. I used to have to go to a club wearing a...
That's it. We're going to have to take you both to a club and see who can get the most phone numbers.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Yes.
You're going to have a showdown.
Like a good video.
I'm allowed to do that. We've had that discussion.
Really?
I've gotten guys' numbers before. And
right.
it doesn't go anywhere because I don't have the confidence. But, it's nice at the time.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of ego, though, to admit, the other one could probably do better. My partner could do better, and I'm sort of like, they settled for me. It takes a lot of ego to admit that, doesn't it?
A lack of ego, or
it takes a lot of ego breaking down.
You got to let go of your ego to be able to say that.
I want to know your guys' opinion on jealousy, because I've heard both camps. I've had an ex that was furious because I wasn't getting jealous when he would flirt with other guys.
Yeah, right.
Because he wanted me to, show how much I needed him more than someone else.
So you never get jealousy?
No.
You're so comfortable in your relationship, or it's just
Neither of us.
Sorry?
Neither of us really are.
No?
Yeah.
I mean, that's good that you're just so comfortable and stuff like that in your relationship, and you know that when you go out for a night, no matter who you may disappear and talk to for a little while, you're going home together.
That's the idea. Yeah. That's the plan.
And we're terrible at perving. We'll
so bad.
be walking down the
shopping
centre, like we were today, and I'm like, have a look at that one.
That's hilarious.
I love picking out muscly dudes for him. It's like, there's one for you.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
so you know each other's types and you'll point them out?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And do you ever come across one that ticks a lot of boxes for both of you? And
occasionally.
Go your halves?
Yeah. Heads or tails.
Nice.
No, it happens, yeah.
Far out. It's 10 to 12.
Holy cow.
That's cool.
This has been a good chat. I feel like I didn't even get to dive into the hypnotherapy. We're going to have Andre on for
He's going to do it live on air.
I'm around.
He's going to do it on air.
We'll have to have part two, eh?
Really?
I don't know when it's going to happen. He's been promising for ages. Yeah,
on
when?
Tea time?
No, not on our show.
Come and hypnotise me on it. Oh, one thing, all right, if I've only get to ask one question, I want to know, if you go in, if you've got skills in hypnotherapy, and obviously you do, you've spent years studying it and stuff, how quickly can you hypnotise somebody?
So the hypnotherapist answer to that is, how quickly can you hypnotise yourself? Because all I do is facilitate the hypnosis. I just help you get into a
right.
hypnotic
And so
state.
how fast can you help assist somebody into getting into their own hypnosis state?
It depends on the person. Some people are really quick. Are you a person that can fall asleep really easily?
Yeah.
Well, then you'll probably be easy to hypnotise.
Yeah, right. That's interesting.
And that thing about people having to be willing is true, isn't it?
Yeah, you got to want to do it.
Yeah.
Do you get some people that are immune to it?
Everybody can be hypnotised. It's just if they allow themselves to or not.
Yeah, right. And so, sorry, this is the actual question. I was just doing a little bit of build up to the question. At the casino, can you hypnotise the roulette croupier? Because I know they can drop that ball on the number they want or within a vicinity. Could you potentially hypnotise somebody and have them act at your will?
We have this conversation off air.
Wow, that is so cool. We definitely have to catch up.
I really can't.
I was wondering if you'd get banned from casinos and stuff like that.
I reckon.
If they catch on to it, maybe.
I mean, the croupier would get... Is it still a croupier if it's the ball thing?
Yeah, I think roulette's a croupier and then blackjack's are dealers and poker's dealers and stuff like that.
I think they'd get suspicious if you started talking to them in a slow voice. And how old are you today? And and you have to speak in confusing sentences. Is that a thing?
Oh.
Yeah, confusing sentences.
Confusing sentences, yeah. I pay attention.
Right.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Boom, there's a brownie point. I paid attention. I pulled up something here. I do that with my missus all the time when I bring up like the names of flowers and stuff like that. Like I told her that I was talking to you the other day about your gardens at the school, and I asked you, can you put in violas if you want? And she was like, oh, you dropped a little bit of violas, did you?
That's really nice.
Just sort of knowledge through osmosis, I
Does
suppose.
she do that to you? Does she pick up like the different grades of grout?
Honestly, there is so many things that she doesn't know about me.
There's a lot to know about grout, isn't there?
No, not really.
Oh, okay.
It's just the stuff between the tiles.
If I can pick it up, I'm pretty sure anyone.
The glue that holds everything together. The glue is important.
There is, like, if you want to break it down to a molecular level, the cement is it's actually an organic compound, and when you add moisture, there's crystals that grow on it, and it's those crystals that actually interlock, and then they set, and that's what makes cement hard. If you add too much water, those crystals have no stability and they'll turn to crap, and if you don't add enough water, those crystals don't grow enough and interlock enough.
That's amazing.
So
I'm getting some microscope imagery when I get home.
Yeah, well, I think it's just 20 plus years in the game, and you get some dudes that take tiling really seriously, and they make out like I'm God's gift to tiling. And it's like, who cares, mate? You're just another stone monkey. Get over yourself.
Stone monkey.
Got no time. Yeah, but only another tiler can call a tiler a stone monkey. It's a term of endearment when a tiler says it.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyway, we've still got quickly update me on what's happening at the moment, like the most recent revelations in the LGBTQI community.
Okay. See, I don't actually do research for my show while I'm on holiday. So no, I've got people to do that for me.
Oh,
that's the key.
We should have your people do lunch with my people.
Oh, you know what? Actually, there is something. And this is really personal to me. It means a great deal. It does. 4 of the famous drag queens that have come through Drag Race are playing D&D campaign with Brennan Lee Mulligan, who is one of my favourite people on the planet.
Right.
5 people whom I love and respect and are all hilarious
are
in a room
that you love,
like bantering at each other for hours on end.
That's hilarious.
The trailer is amazing. So that's something. I didn't know drag queens did that. There we go. Everyone can play D&D. It's for everybody.
Different layers, They're onions, They've
They're
got different layers. You can't just take them on face value and just sort of think that's all there is to them,
That's right, yeah.
People have got different things going on, like you with your Dungeons and Dragons. You write scripts for Dungeons and Dragons?
Oh, yeah. No, I do that. I do voices. I write material.
And create characters and stuff?
Of course.
How does it work? So there's no set game to Dungeons and Dragons. It's not like Monopoly and stuff like that, or Snakes and Ladders.
There's like some loose boundaries to give it structure, so everyone's on the same page. But apart from that, you pretty much do whatever you want.
How do you win?
It's kind of great. You don't.
Yeah,
I mean, like you can set your own goals. Like I fell in love with a barmaid, and I've been on a little personal mission to woo her.
That's hilarious.
And I've gotten wedding clothes made just in case.
Right.
I've given her gifts. Yeah, we're going to marry.
So do people get... So you're basically creating a story as you play the game.
That's the thing. It's collaborative storytelling.
And do people ever get killed off halfway through?
All the time.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
And so if you're the last person remaining in the story for the night, because you get together, you have a session of collaborative storytelling that goes for 3 or 4 hours.
No, years.
Oh, sometimes years.
Sometimes, yeah.
Is it all a continuation?
Can be.
Yeah,
some people do that. Yeah, there's one that's been going for 20 years. It's quite famous.
Right.
20 years, the same thing.
Out.
Oh, and there was I'm nerding the hell out now, but there was a world record recently achieved of the most players in a game. It was like 5,000 people all crammed into a shopping centre.
What?
On like these multi-level shopping centre.
How does everybody get a turn?
Oh, like walkie-talkies and stuff. I don't know. It was nuts.
That's wild.
Yeah, madness.
But interesting that it can be expanded like that. That's really cool.
Yeah. It's good. So there we go. That's and Celine Dion is we hope she gets better.
We should go. I feel like we ran off on tangents, I didn't get to touch on any of the good topics that I wanted to talk about.
I was going to say we need to do a part 2 at some point, maybe with everyone.
Yeah, definitely. We'll have to get Andre in here, get him to hypnotise me in the studio.
I would love to see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's find out what's really under that noggin of yours.
Oh, no, that's scary. There's a lot going on in here, eh?
That's right. You're in safe hands.
Can I, put limitations on how deep you can go, Andre?
You can limit yourself.
You can try.
As I said to you before, I'm just a facilitator.
So if I'm in a hypnotic state and you're communicating with me, can you sort of ask questions and draw out old memories and stuff like that I don't even consciously know are there anymore?
I wouldn't do it on air, and
right. But it's possible.
It's not really what I like.
What is the purpose for you in you learning to become a hypnotherapist? What are you wanting to achieve?
I want to be a counsellor, I suppose.
Right.
Like I'm studying psychology as well.
So for as a tool to help people deal with grief and stuff?
Yeah, grief, trauma, anxiety, procrastination.
There you go. Deal with your procrastination.
I'll deal with my procrastination tomorrow. But no, thanks heaps for being on the show, Andre. I really look forward to catching up with you again. I know you mentioned earlier in the show that we have met before, and I placed you now. I know who you are, yes. But yeah, I feel a little bit bad about that. But you can come and hypnotise the image of your face and melt it into my brain.
That's what I'm going to get him to do for me. Yep. Work on this remembering names and faces thing, because I'm terrible, man.
I'm shocking with it.
Every time I'm bad. Trying to name a song or a person that I've met, I am bad. I just cannot do it.
And that's a thing I think that can happen, is you can learn new skills and improve as well. Yeah, so
I think it might also have something to do with the amount of weed I smoke, is like short-term memory loss and stuff.
If anything, it'll have the opposite effect on me and it'll help me remember.
But I mean, they say that weed affects short-term memory loss, but does that mean that once it becomes a long-term memory, you get it back?
I think so, yeah.
Really?
That's my hope. That's what I'm convinced myself of.
I'm terrified for my future then.
Depending on how long you've used it for, your memory will return.
Right.
There you go. It's not gone forever. It's always in there somewhere. Oh, yeah. Wow. And mushrooms are going to save us all, so...
Man, mushrooms are actually going to save us all, eh?
In so many ways.
Like, it's unreal. They're like one of the world's biggest organisms and stuff. They link up entire rainforests and can share nutrients between trees that are suffering. And they've also found funguses that eat plastic.
Yeah, it's great, and cure PTSD, and awaken people from comas and stuff. So look, there we go. That's where we'll start next time.
Excellent.
Is how mushrooms are going to save us.
Let's put a pin in mushrooms, and that will be the first topic of conversation next time we get joined by Ali from Tea Time and his partner Andre here on The Late Show.
Love that. So in the meantime, tomorrow night, Wednesday, 6 till 9, we'll be on Tea Time and just dishing all that stuff. And I promise I'll do some research before the show. I mean, even though I'm on holiday.
What have you got for us as a preview? Do you know any topics that are going to be brought up tomorrow?
Oh, no, it's going to be a complete surprise. No, man, I don't. Like I said, I'm checked out for the day.
Yeah,
I'm out of here. No,
that's cool. I like that. I don't do it. I don't.
But it'll be entertaining,
stuff like that. I'm normally write just a few keynotes at best, and then just wing it, and it feels more authentic that way. And sometimes I don't always get all the information I want because I run off on a tangent. But
you ask some good questions, though. You do.
I try to.
Yeah.
Well, I think I just have a curious brain and stuff, and I don't know.
To learn.
Try to just look at things differently. Yeah. Like, I was just thinking in my brain that I'd sort of think about the opposite to mainstream. You know, I'm sick of hearing the mainstream answers, the mainstream questions. So I want to hear the answers to questions that don't always get asked. And then just thinking mainstream in my head made me think of Joe Rogan. Do you know apparently Joe Rogan has apparently now become the biggest outlet media source in the world?
Yeah.
Wow.
How does that even work?
I mean, I go to him.
He's a podcaster.
I go to him for Neil deGrasse Tyson and the other really smart physics guy.
Man, I love physics. We could definitely talk about physics. Let's put that on the list.
Yes.
But it did make me think, does that mean because Joe Rogan was sort of seen as someone that had an alternative theory about a lot of things, but now that he's the biggest media production in the world, does that mean that he's technically mainstream and CNN is becoming alternative?
Everything's
it's interesting
from a strictly numbers point of view. It's almost like we are actually officially at 12 o'clock now, and I didn't even get through all my questions. I asked you what was your scariest moment in your life that was meant to be balanced out with what was the happiest moment in your life. So we're going to have to come back to that next time.
I'll have to think about it
with a little